Because football is the ultimate team sport. And even in this broadcasting role, Chris, that's what I look for all the time. When a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, I actually watch to see who he goes and celebrates with. Because what did I do? I looked for my offensive lineman every time. I went down and celebrated in the end zone with my teammates every time. I wanted everyone to feel like they were part of the success. I told the linemen, we're all running to the end zone and we're celebrating as a team. Because I think that's way more intimidating than a quarterback doing his 6-shooter guns and pointing up in the crowd and doing all that other bullshit that's very self-promotional, but it's not about winning. And I think winning in football is about a team, always a team attitude first.
Tom Brady just dropped a bombshell, sounding more like a conspiracy hunter than the NFL's golden boy, and social media is going nuclear. He's alleging a full-on agenda against Shedeur Sanders, something bigger than busted headsets, louder than fake crowd noise, and wilder than his own avocado ice cream obsession. The face of football accusing hidden powers of sabotaging the college game's hottest star? This isn't your usual Sunday storyline anymore. It's turning into a Netflix-worthy thriller the league never wanted in its script.
Tom Brady has found himself in some serious drama involving Shedeur Sanders and the 2025 NFL. Now, we know when the draft came about, the Raiders passed on Shedeur, I believe, 2 to 3 times, right? And we know Tom Brady was very pivotal in Shedeur development from middle school through high school and a little of college with him at the quarterback position. Shedeur Sanders used to, I believe, travel down to Florida, train with Tom Brady, I believe his son too, if I'm not mistaken, and they used to, warm up together.
If you're enjoying, please subscribe Shedeur Sanders to the channel. It helps more than you think. The NFL's no stranger to scandal, Deflategate, Spygate, even that infamous coach who tripped a player on the sideline. But now the script's flipped. Welcome to the Shedeur Sanders era, where controversy isn't about PSI levels in footballs but whether a young quarterback's swagger, flash, and star power are shaking the league's comfort zone. This isn't air pressure drama anymore, it's about someone being too big for their box.
Tom Brady has called me out. I guess he's called me a liar. So I'm about to call BS on Tom Brady because Tom, you know and I know everything I said about you and Shedeur Sanders.
Enter Tom Brady, the walking avocado commercial himself, stepping in to prove football is less a game and more a full-blown political stage with helmets. And let's be real about Shedeur Sanders, he's no cookie-cutter quarterback prospect. This isn't a kid who lucked into a few good college seasons and now hopes to hang around an NFL roster like a forgotten practice squad extra. Shedeur arrives with elite talent, unshakable swagger, and a cultural magnetism that makes front offices salivate. He's not just a player, he's a headline, a movement, and a marketing dream rolled into one.
So if there's anybody that knows Shedeur's style of play and anybody on this planet that can damn right say, you know what, he's the one, he got it. I know this without a doubt in my mind. He could throw the ball. He's accurate. He's that good. It's Tom Brady. Well, when rubber came to meet the road, Tom Brady did not draft Shedeur Sanders. He even went on a press run and stated that when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders, he has no involvement with the quarterback evaluation, no involvement when trying to help pick out the quarterback for the team. He's one of the owners of the team, bro. Now, we all know, at the end, I love Tom Brady. But Tom, you're really looking a little spooky on this one, dog.
Shedeur Sanders is practically a walking billboard stuffed into shoulder pads. And if football is a business, and we all know it is, he's the kind of talent you'd expect the Raiders to snatch up without blinking. Vegas lives for spectacle, thrives on glitz. Imagine slot machines spinning while Shedeur rocks silver and black. That's money falling from the ceiling. But here's where the plot twists. Faced with all that skill, swagger, and future of the franchise aura, the Raiders gave the ultimate shrug, like a server dropping the wrong meal at your table. Instead of cashing in on the show, they passed. They flat out didn't draft him, stunning everyone who thought it was a done deal.
And Tom Brady finally couldn't take it anymore, and he decides to go off on Shedeur Sanders and his supporters. He is going to explain on this video clip that I'm about to explain and play on why he doesn't like Shedeur and why he didn't select him for the NFL draft. And thank you, Tom, for proving me correct about you. Shout out to the supporters and the content creators who released broken. Nah, I ain't gonna play that 2 times. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it's good to say I told you so. Sometimes it's good to see the things we reveal and it happened for real. But man, this guy Tom Brady, he is not playing.
And that's when Tom Brady decided to step out of his Zen retirement bubble and sprinkle his own special brand of passive-aggressive wisdom into the mix. Brady isn't just a former quarterback anymore. The man has his golden fingers in ownership now, with a slice of the Raiders that gives him influence far beyond Instagram workout videos. He's part of the inner circle, the people who nod sagely around tables while deciding which future millionaires will wear their jersey. So when Brady talks about Shedeur, it's not just commentary. It's practically policy. And let's be real, Brady doesn't exactly look at Shedeur with hard eyes. Quite the opposite. The man radiates the energy of a high school principal watching a student pull up to prom in a rented Lamborghini. Do your job, speak in cliches, avoid personality at all costs. Shedeur? He's the opposite. He's a highlight reel wrapped in gold chains, and that alone probably keeps Brady up at night. Now, here's where the conspiracy theories kick in. The Raiders passing on Shedeur wasn't just about fit or development time. Oh no.
Why does the media and social media have to put Shedeur Sanders' name in everything that's being tweeted and said by a former NFL player or a former NFL quarterback? Listen, Tom Brady went out there and said some things about the quarterback position and the way they celebrated, and everybody want to link that conversation to Shedeur Sanders.
According to whispers, and, let's face it, Brady's less than glowing comments, it looks like there's an agenda at play. A real one. Not the kind that makes people argue about UFOs on late-night radio, but the kind that shows how much NFL politics matter more than raw talent. Think about it, the Raiders have been mediocre for years. They've tried stopgap quarterbacks, shuffled through coaches like deck chairs on the Titanic, and still can't figure out how to win consistently. So, when the chance to draft Shedeur appeared, the logic should have been easy. Grab him, unleash the circus, and maybe ride that hype train to actual relevance. Instead, they passed. He's like the teacher's pet who not only brought an apple for the teacher but also graded everyone else's homework. Shedeur, on the other hand, is the kid throwing a pep rally in the middle of class and somehow still acing the test. Brady doesn't vibe with that energy. You could almost see it in his eyes when he talked about Shedeur, like he was calculating just how dangerous it would be for a guy like that to land in Vegas, the land of flashing lights, massive egos, and endless distractions.
Early in the 5th round, 7 times the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders. Yet when Tom Brady was asked on the Jake Paul podcast why Shedeur fell so far, he stammered for a second. And then he said, that's a good question. And then Tom said, I wasn't part of any evaluation process or to see that. I guess meaning that he wasn't at all a part of the Raiders draft process, so he wasn't privy to any inside information about why Shedeur fell so far, so fast. Really?
It's not that Shedeur isn't talented. Everyone knows he is. It's that Brady doesn't trust a quarterback who doesn't follow the sacred script of humility, quiet obedience, and boring interviews. Let's not forget, Brady's not exactly unbiased here. He's part owner of the Raiders. If he whispers in the right ears, his opinion becomes strategy. And when a guy with 7 Super Bowls and 2 decades of dominance says, "I don't like this guy's style," you can bet there's going to be hesitation. He doesn't like his style, his presence, his flash. And in the end, that dislike might have carried enough weight to keep the Raiders from making the bold move. What makes this even funnier is the irony. Brady, the guy who was once doubted, overlooked, and picked 199th in the draft, is now the one giving off gatekeeper energy. The underdog turned legend now slamming the door shut on another young star? Oh, the hypocrisy practically writes itself. It's like watching a former bullied kid become the school principal and then banning loud sneakers in the hallways.
Talk about Tom Brady in these comments that everybody knows were aimed at Shedeur Sanders. Tom didn't say his name directly, but let's stop playing. The whole world knew who he was talking about, and honestly, the message is way more dangerous than people realize, bruh. I'm gonna explain it, and it's gonna make sense, but let's look at a post that was already dropped. So you got a lot of people like Pharaoh NFL who got legit receipts as well. It says, "Oh, okay, now I know why the Raiders and Tom Brady didn't draft Shedeur Sanders." Now you guys need to look at some of these things I wanted to get out there, because they're going to tell you that Bless One is tweaking, I'm overthinking it, and I'm doing too much. No, I got it exactly correct. As you see, Tom Brady.
And let's just pause to laugh at the Raiders here. This is the same franchise that has built its brand on chaos. Al Davis, the godfather of Just Win, Baby, thrived on bringing in misfits, rebels, and showmen. And now his team is listening to Brady, the human embodiment of order and bland efficiency, to pass on Shedeur Sanders? They don't want young stars whose personalities become bigger than the game. And Shedeur? He's a walking media magnet. His name alone generates headlines. Put him in a city like Vegas and suddenly the Raiders are secondary characters in their own story. And if there's one thing the NFL hates, it's losing control of the narrative. Tom Brady is supposed to be the picture of professionalism, the quarterback monk who aged like a fine bottle of kale juice and somehow got better with time. But even the golden boy has preferences, and in this case, those preferences clearly don't involve Shedeur Sanders.
Working with Tom, it was just talking to him and understanding, okay, how to improve each week. He texts me after the game, "Don't be satisfied." Like, it's cool. So it was cool hearing from him, knowing he's still watching and stuff like that. But just working with him, it really helped me just understand. Don't focus on the good things. We did that. That's night and day. We're gonna do that regardless. Focus on the bad things. Focus on the things that we wasn't able to do at a high level. So improve that, then you got full armor everywhere.
If Brady could pick the perfect quarterback, it would probably be someone who wore khakis to practice, gave the playbook a bedtime story every night, and thanked every lineman individually after each snap. Shedeur? He rolls in with designer shades, a grin that says he knows exactly how good he is, and the ability to back it up. And that's where Brady's discomfort shows. Because Shedeur isn't just a good quarterback, he's a threat to the very identity of what Brady built. Brady had to claw his way up, survive behind Drew Bledsoe, and spend years proving himself. Shedeur doesn't have to prove the same way. The man who became an underdog legend now looks at the new generation and mutters like an old man yelling at clouds. Brady sees Shedeur and doesn't just see talent, he sees chaos, attention, and noise. He sees a world where quarterbacks don't need to be robotic soundbites anymore. And deep down, he doesn't like it. He's allergic to it. Which brings us back to the Raiders.
On a podcast about the way he looks at a quarterback, the way he celebrates. Listen, did Tom Brady go off? Or did Tom Brady just gave his personal feelings about the way you should celebrate from a quarterback position? Did he do that? Was he talking about Shedeur? Matter of fact, I got a video I can show you of Shedeur. We know Shedeur do the legendary wrist up. We know he do that. But check this out.
Imagine the conversations behind closed doors. The scouts drooling over Shedeur's tape, the marketing department picturing his face on billboards, and then Brady sitting there with his arms crossed like the dad who doesn't approve of his daughter's boyfriend. You can almost hear it. Sure, he's exciting, but is he Raiders material? Translation: Brady doesn't vibe with him, so the team won't either. But let's be honest, the excuses for passing on Shedeur are laughable at best. They'll say things like, he needs more development time. Really? Because half the quarterbacks who get drafted high need development time, and it doesn't stop teams from throwing them into the fire. Or, he might be a distraction. Please. His arm talent, poise under pressure, and ability to thrive when the spotlight is on him? That's exactly what the Raiders desperately need. This isn't some raw, unknown project. Shedeur has already proven he can handle pressure that would make most quarterbacks fold like cheap lawn chairs. He's been under the microscope since day one, carrying the weight of his last name while carving his own path. If anything, he's more prepared for the NFL spotlight than half the guys drafted ahead of him. But Brady didn't highlight any of that.
I want to ask one more question about Shedeur. How do you see him fitting into the offense in Cleveland, and what does he have to do to prove himself in that organization?
Yeah, he's got to show up every day. And what I say about leadership, you got to, as a quarterback, you have to be a leader. And the me, the leader is, do I care about my teammates? And do I care about what we're trying to accomplish? Like rules 1 and 2. And I would say that to every quarterback that I ever come across. And if they're listening, do that.
Instead, he went the classic route of nitpicking flaws. A little too flashy here, a little too outspoken there. Because let's face it, Brady has always been the model student who resents the kid who gets away with chewing gum in class. Shedeur is that kid, and Brady's not handing him a hall pass. And here's the irony that makes this whole situation hilarious. Brady once was Shedeur, in spirit if not in style. He was the quarterback nobody wanted, the guy teams overlooked, the player forced to fight for respect. He was the underdog, the outsider, the one the system underestimated. This isn't about football talent, it's about control. The NFL doesn't like players who become bigger than the league. They tolerated it with Tom Brady because he was clean-cut, disciplined, and willing to play the game their way. But Shedeur? He's not apologizing for who he is. He's not shrinking himself to fit into some cookie-cutter image of what a quarterback should be. And that makes people like Brady nervous. The Raiders could have leaned into the chaos, embraced the circus, and maybe, just maybe, turned it into wins. Instead, they passed.
I made you like, yeah. Tom Brady shooting, and he's gunning for Shedeur Sanders. Skip Bayless is shooting, and he's gunning for Tom Brady. Has hit the fan? You definitely, yes, it has hit the fan, and it has funkin' up the whole room. As Tom Brady told his organization, the Raiders organization, to not draft Shedeur Sanders, including Tom Brady telling other organizations to not draft Shedeur Sanders. This is all alleged by Skip Bayless. But not just by Skip Bayless, Google alleged Tom Brady. You can Google it right now, and it say, yes, Tom Brady.
And not because of logic. Not because of football. But because the old guard can't stand watching the new guard rewrite the rules. So now we have Tom Brady, the legend, standing on one side, essentially saying, not on my watch. And on the other side? Shedeur Sanders, still climbing, still proving, still being everything Brady doesn't want him to be. The agenda is crystal clear: keep the NFL clean, controlled, and predictable. Don't let it turn into a spectacle where players overshadow franchises. Don't let it become a league where quarterbacks are cultural icons first and athletes second. But here's the punchline: it already is. Whether Brady likes it or not, the NFL is entertainment before it's sport. Shedeur is just the latest, and best, proof of that. The Raiders passing on Shedeur isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of the irony. Because if Shedeur lands somewhere else and lights it up, the Raiders will look like fools. And Brady? He'll look like the guy who tried to stop the future but only ended up speeding it up.